welcome back to the 60th episode of the Tundra Cast. Today, we got Nick,
Hello.
Rossi,
So
and Siakam.
Hello.
In the first round of the Stanley Cup playoffs have been completed. A lot of interesting series took place, a lot of interesting games. And so before we preview the second round, I think it'd be a good idea to recap what happened in the first round of the playoffs. So let's just do that. So let's start off in the East. We had Florida against Washington. I think a lot of us had Florida winning the series in 4, maybe 5. Washington pushed it to 6. And, a lot of the concerns for the Panthers really shown in the series. I mean, there's some games where Bobrovsky just did not look great. The Panthers were taking so many penalties. The power play wasn't good at all for Florida. I don't think they scored a single goal in the playoff in the first round, and yet they still beat the Caps and they make it to the second round for the first time since 1996.
Yeah.
I mean, I think Florida. I think Washington honestly could have pulled this series out potentially if they just had a few more things go their way. But at the end of the day, when you're dealing with a machine like Florida is, it's very hard, even if you do get a lot of things.
And the goaltending kind of impressed me. I think Samsonov was pretty good in the games he played. Vanacek was kind of lackluster, but I think it's almost time for this group in Washington to go through a retool phase. This is another. They haven't made it past the first round since winning the Stanley Cup in 2018, and I think they kind of need an identity change. Has been working out for the past few years, albeit once again they went up against the President's Trophy winners. But I think if you really want to push for that last cup in Ovechkin's era, because he has 4 years left on that contract, I think you got to go through a bit of a retool.
What that may entail is kind of hazy at the moment, which we can talk more about that during like the off-season podcast.
Yeah, for sure. And that's really it on the series. It was. I mean, I didn't really pay a lot of attention to it. I watched both the overtime games where Carter Verhaeghe scored.
Right. I didn't really pay attention to it either, but I did have the Panthers winning in 6. So
you did. Well, there you
pat
go.
on the back for me. Pat on the back for me.
Good job.
Yeah, I figured it'd be a little closer. I mean, Washington had a pretty good team, and I didn't think Florida's kind of choked the last few years in the playoffs. So
right.
Just figured that Washington would steal at least a couple games, but
yeah. And to tie in with that second round with Florida, we got Toronto and Tampa.
Oh boy.
I think I should leave this to Siakam.
He's even gonna
well, he's muted. So
let's just talk about it until he unmutes, and then okay. So, the series was interesting.
It was a fun series. It was an awesome series to watch. I think all the games were really fun. There was a lot of high-scoring action. The goaltending was garbage. Vasilevsky did not play well.
Yeah.
Oh my god. I was astonished with how many penalties both teams would take like every game.
I know.
Like there was when in the first game there was 1 suspension after that, and then there was 5 game misconducts just in the first game.
Yeah, the reffing was kind of weird in that series. I don't know.
It's almost like they couldn't decide who they wanted to help, so they were just penalize everyone.
And is it just me or did it seem like Kucherov was drunk half the time? Every time on the power play, he would either miss wide or I don't know what the hell he was doing.
I mean, isn't he sponsored by Bud Light or something?
Something like that.
So. I mean, he still ended up as the leading scorer on the team, which makes no sense because I thought he was kind of awful. I thought
so did I.
I thought the best player in that series was I think honestly, I think it was Nick Paul, and even though he has goals, I know his only 2 goals came in Game 7, but the whole series he was so effective on the forecheck. He's so good in his own zone. He really reminds me of when they got Blake Coleman last year, and he was a difference maker for sure. And this was also with Braden Point, who's entering the postseason with an injury, got injured Game 7. The team is so deep, and even when they weren't playing at their best level, they still somehow won. I don't know if that goes to show you how good that team is, or if Toronto is just cursed. But it was a fun series to watch. I feel bad for Maple Leaf fans though, because it's like another first round exit, Game 7. I'm pretty sure Jay Fresh. I'm gonna try to find a tweet, but like I think Jay Fresh said like the odds of losing 5-6 straight Game 7s is like 1 in 25,000. It's such a low odd total, and yet Toronto somehow did it. So
I feel bad for some Leafs fans. Other half of the Leafs fans are just kind of obnoxious, and I'm okay
Curtis
with
from
it.
Alberta, that dude on Twitter.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm sorry, Leaf fan, to a lot of you guys. I promise you, one day you're gonna get out of this first round. I promise. You guys have a bright future, and it's just unlucky that they had to face off against Tampa Bay, because I think any other team Toronto would have destroyed.
Yeah,
but
I think a lot of this playoff so far has been either a team gets screwed over by an injury or two, or a team gets screwed over by their seeding.
Yeah, and that happened in Toronto. Next series, Carolina, Boston. Another one that I didn't really pay too much attention to besides the final two games.
I watched every single game of this series. I mean, I didn't watch the full thing of them because I would turn on the other games when they would come on. But when I was watching it, it definitely was like, especially in like the first couple games, even when Boston would win, they did not look good. They came out flat-footed, basically on their heels. It was just very, very odd to see Boston so lackadaisically bad.
And I mean, to be fair, their depth kind of sucks. Like, wasn't Eric Haller their second line center?
Or something? Yeah, I think so. But like, obviously, Boston and Carolina, they both tend to whine and play dirty when things aren't going their way. But when you have the two dirty teams facing off against each other, it would get scary at points where you kind of thought that something big would happen, but it just never happened. I mean, there was obviously that point in the one Bruins game when the timekeeper got domed in the head by a broken pane of glass.
Yeah, that was weird.
Which was scary.
But wasn't that there was also that Lindholm hit? I forgot who
Svechnikov.
Svechnikov, dirty, whatever. Both teams are dirty. I think it's just a testament to how two teams, and this goes for a lot of teams, and I've said this before and I'll say it again. I think it's such a shitty and dangerous tactic that teams do, that if it's like, well, if we can't win fairly, we'll play dirty. Right. And you see so many teams doing that. Calgary, New York, Rangers, Carolina, Boston. You see it all the time, and it's just a tactic that needs to go away.
The players need to not going to do anything about it.
Yeah, and it really is upsetting that the teams that do that do often move on because they do injure key players. But it was sort of nice to see two dirty teams fighting each other without very many injuries. I mean, the biggest injury during that series was that poor timekeeper, which I really hope, he recovers fully.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, I watched. Am I the only one in this call who watched literally almost every single game of the first round?
Yes.
Okay. So I'm gonna be an authority figure.
I watched Game 7 and I watched Game 6. After that, I didn't watch a lot of this series. I had Boston 6 because I thought Carolina's goaltending was gonna die, and it did for 2 games. Mm-hmm. And Pyotr Kochekov or whatever his name is.
Kochekov. Oh my.
These Russians, bro. So many Russian goalies. But I mean, he's obviously the future there. I mean, he's still very young. He played okay in the
well, their last future they gave away for nothing.
Nedeljkovic, eh? It's weird. I mean, okay, we're going to be off topic here, but I always thought Nedeljkovic was freaking Russian by his last name, but he's a freaking American.
He's American. He played for the Plymouth Whalers,
he must be like a Russian American like Galchenyuk, because Galchenyuk's from Wisconsin, and he's...
I think of like Croatia when I think of a name like that.
Fun fact, one of the players on the Los Angeles Kings is from a country called Uzbekistan.
That's Kaliev?
Yeah, Kaliev is from Uzbekistan.
Yeah.
I thought it was Uzbekistan.
I honestly don't know how to pronounce it. If you're from there, please leave a comment saying how to
Yeah,
pronounce it.
correct us.
Yeah,
And,
yeah.
I know anyone from there is watching this, but
If
Hey, you
someone
never know.
from there is
Hey.
watching, please leave a comment and screw it. We will invite you into the server so that we can talk to you, because I honestly want to hear more about you guys, because I did not know
Yeah.
of that country until like when I looked it up the other day. And I was like, what the hell?
What is this? All right, next one. This is gonna be. I'm sorry, Nick.
It's okay.
Pens Rangers. I had Pens in 7.
I had Rangers in 4.
What?
Yeah, do you not remember that? I had
5v5 Rangers. They still suck 5v5. Once again, they're carried by Igor in the fucking power play.
Yeah, no, that's exactly what I thought would happen. I was like, okay, they don't have Jari. DeSmith is gonna suck eggs.
DeSmith was good though until he got injured.
Yeah, but this was before the series started when I made this prediction, you dumbass.
Wow.
I was like,
Jeez.
DeSmith is gonna be terrible as always, and the Rangers are just gonna, and Shesterkin's just gonna become a wall. Little did I know, Shesterkin just kind of turns into Swiss cheese. Louis Domingue becomes God.
Louis.
And it's like, and every single game that I would watch of this series, I would just go, what the hell is happening here? Because nothing in this series made sense. Like,
it was a fun
Right.
series though. This was probably one of my favorite first round series.
Yeah,
this
it was
year.
so
Yeah.
amazing, but nothing from it made sense. There was the play where Shesterkin like ran into Jeff Carter and then just laid on the ice for like
Yeah.
5-10 minutes.
That one,
And it was
yeah.
just like, what is this series and how do I make it longer? And even better, I want everybody watching this video and everybody else on this call, next time the Penguins are playing, listen to their commentators on the NHL app. They are some of the funniest people ever. When I was listening to Game 7, the Penguins play-by-play announcer on the radio, when they got scored on, it was like, he was like, and again, it's Mike Matheson. This guy's got no awareness in front, and he's just roasting everybody. Like, there was a point where Shesterkin made a save, and he's like, what are you doing? You gotta shoot above. You can't just shoot at his pads. If you are ever doing that, you have to listen to those guys. They are hilarious. They have become one of my favorite people.
Yeah.
One of my favorite commentator teams. They're great.
So yeah, basically all the series was the Rangers got lucky breaks.
Also,
I mean, okay, can I just say, and I'm sorry, Ranger fans. Okay, I'm sorry to the good and like actually Ranger fans that
those are rare.
understand hockey watching this. I'm sorry
There's
if I'm
good ones
offending you
out there.
guys. But to the Ranger fans at MSG, not every fucking thing's a penalty, okay?
I know.
I mean, everything is a penalty to them when they can only score on the power play.
That actually bugged me so much. Like, someone would fall, and you just hear them go, "Hey!"
You could literally see
Hey,
everybody
hey,
put their hands
shut
up
up.
like it was the wave.
I know. Yeah, fuck. Oh my god. Yeah, that was horrible.
And
But
then the
yeah,
second
that
the
was
Rangers play dirty, everybody's just like, yeah.
that was such an unlucky series for us. I was so like disappointed. I had the Rangers winning in 6. I won't lie. I had them. I did a bracket. I had the Rangers winning in 6. And I was like, okay, they're probably gonna lose Game 7, whatever. But like, it's just to be that close sucked. And like, we had injury. Every game we had at least one guy go to the bench and hobble off and all this shit. It was crazy. We had obviously DeSmith go off and
it sucks too because he had the series lead, right?
Yeah, and that's the thing too.
And I really thought you would have closed it out in 6 because you're at home. You had a 2-0 series lead, and then
we're so good at home, and then Domingue happened. I guess I still don't understand that one.
I just think it's a thing where in Game 7, I don't think you play Jari, especially since it was confirmed that he was playing on a broken foot.
Yeah, that was a weird one, but that kind of like, I guess that kind of confirms what the thoughts were with Domingue on the coaching staff. Like, I feel like if Jari was going to be, I guess, healthy enough to play, I don't think you can argue he was healthy enough to play that game, but I think 99.99% of the time, you're going to give Jari that Game 7, just based on how Domingue played. The first 2 games, he was all right. Like, when he came in OT, he was stopping some shots and making some real good saves. But down the stretch, like, he kind of
wore off.
Realized, he wore off, and that kind of showed people why he hasn't really been a starter. So, yeah, a little bit. But yeah, I was disappointed. It was such an unlucky series for
Yeah.
us, and who knows what happens with like Malkin and Letang now.
Yeah, it's
I
gonna be a
mean,
very interesting offseason for the Penguins.
yeah, it will be. So
Yeah,
we'll see what happens.
I think this offseason in general will be very interesting.
Yeah, there's a lot of caps going up, kind of 1 million. That can make a difference.
Woo!
Yeah.
All right, next series. It involves another one of your guys' teams. Colorado, Nashville. Not surprisingly, I'm sorry they got swept because they didn't have Saros. But you know what? Connor Ingram did play well, and I mean, who knows? Maybe if Ingram was in Game 1. Who the frick knows? Maybe the Preds push at the overtime, but you know the Colorado Avalanche are probably still gonna lose in the second round like always. But you know this was a slam dunk. If you had Nashville winning the series, I don't know what to tell you. That's all I'm gonna say.
I will say this. I'm not so upset as many other Preds fans are that we got swept. I saw it coming when Saros was hurt, and I was like, well, maybe you have a chance if Riddick. And I said it on the last episode. I was like, well, maybe we have a chance if Riddick can just be solid or just to be okay.
Nope.
But he wasn't okay. He allowed 5 goals on like 6 shots or something. It wasn't the best thing ever. And you could tell during the game, the defense and everything was overcompensating because it was Riddick.
Yeah.
And because they were overcompensating and just kept trying, and they would make mistakes that you never see them make. Ekholm made a very bad mistake, and it's like you don't see that. And it kind of shows how, well, even on the surface, it didn't really look like it. It showed that the injury to Saros really shook the Preds to their core.
Yeah.
I will say this, in Game 1, if you take out David Riddick's 5 goals against first period, Ingram only got scored on twice, and the Predators scored twice in that span. So Ingram was very good. He proved this long before this series. He's proven that he's going to be the backup in Nashville, and he would definitely be the starter in Nashville if it wasn't for Saros.
And there's also freaking Askarov. Why do you got so many goalies, man?
We need more.
You know, and I'm gonna be honest, I maybe watched like a combined 2 minutes of the series, and that was probably like this game 2 overtime. Because like I was like, okay, this series is gonna end in 4. I don't really care.
I watched like the first period of the first game, and then Kale McCarr's sick moves, and that was it.
I watched, obviously I watched all the games, and
well, yeah.
I will say this: the Predators definitely are better than what they showed in this first round. Obviously, I'm gonna make a video about it and cover everything more in depth once the awards are handed out, because then I'm not just like, and it's not actually set in stone, like who won the Norris, who won the Ted Lindsay, blah 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 blah.
Carlos, yeah.
Yeah. So
or Vesna, yeah.
Who won what? So that way I'm gonna do that. But I will say this: Nashville has problems, like every team, but Nashville's problems can all be fixed pretty easily. They need to get more discipline. If they're not going to get more discipline, they just need to score more on the PK. There's no reason why we should have been the most penalized team and have the least amount of penalty kill goals. But there's issues, and they can easily be fixed. I mean, a lot of the issues, you just put in someone from Milwaukee.
Right. Did anyone just hear that on my thing right now?
Oh no, I didn't hear it.
Yeah.
Okay, my mom's singing Billie Jean upstairs.
Let's go.
You know what? Speaking about it, where are you, Siakam? Are you dead?
Oh my god, yeah, he actually died.
He's just crying.
His parents must have got mad at him or something.
He's just crying. we brought up Toronto, Tampa, and
he's like, fuck this amount.
No, we brought up the first series, and he's like, I can't do this.
He knew what was coming next. He's like, oh no, it's going on Florida first.
He's like, I can't do this.
Run.
All right. Next series. I fucking hate the Minnesota Wild. They ruined my bracket. I hate them.
Really? I had the Blues, baby. I had the Blues. I almost had the Wild, and for the longest time I did. But down the stretch, I'm like, you know what? I think the Blues are gonna surprise, and like they kind of had the Wild's number all year. I think they're gonna surprise a bit. And
I had them in the freaking cup finals, man.
I won personally either way this series. I win.
Why? Because what? Binnington's in the second round now?
I don't give a shit about that. It's funny seeing the Wild fuck themselves for years for not even getting past the first round. Oh my god. The Wild beat the Predators one time this year, and they tried to talk all this shit. It's like, bro, you beat us once, And you had to get so much help from the refs. Oh, it's so funny seeing shitty fans get their comeuppance.
So yeah, the Minnesota Wild
The Nashville Predators.
What? Like, I don't think they made it past the first round since 2015 or something like that. It's been a long ass
It's been
time.
a while. Wait, don't say that.
I'm trying to
There's a
remember.
Maple Leafs fan in the call.
Oh God.
Oh yeah, well I mean he's dead already. So
The last one I remember was against the Avalanche when they were like really good. 2014?
Actually, 2015 was that they beat St. Louis in 2015. Yeah. So
I don't remember.
Then they got swept by Chicago, and I think.
Speaking of Minnesota, it turns out that he was playing the entire series with a dislocated rib, broken rib, and punctured lung.
Yeah, that's insane.
So, yeah,
Warrior.
Matt Dumba was just playing with
broken
everything.
This might go into a long debate, but I don't know if I would have put in Talbot for Game 6.
I think you.
I don't think I would have either. I don't know. That was a weird move.
Well, you know what? In my opinion, you don't start Fleury. You start Talbot. He was better in the final stretch.
Well, that's the thing.
He was better in the final stretch of the regular season. I don't care what accolades Fleury has. You put in the hot goalie. You give it to the hot hand.
That's the thing. I thought Talbot for sure was starting.
I did too, and that's why I had the Wild winning, if I remember correctly.
I mean, but if you go with the hot goalie, that's what Husso was. He lost, then he fucked up in the playoffs, and then Binnington somehow is regaining his magic.
No, here's the thing though, is that Husso was the hot hand, and they rode the hot hand until it fizzled out. That's what the Wild should have done. You ride Talbot until it fizzles out. But no, they went with Fleury. Fleury gets scored on 4 times in Game 1. He gets scored on twice in Game 2. And what was it? Did he? It was just like,
yeah.
And then it's just like, well, fine. Game 6, like it should have been Talbot way before Game 6, and I think once you get to Game 6, there's a good reason to keep Fleury in because obviously Talbot will now be cold, but there's also a reason to put Talbot in.
Right. It was just a weird series in general for Minnesota. They didn't look like the same team from the regular season. And now this upcoming offseason, they're going to get screwed by the Tundra pile. So they're going to lose Kevin Fiala. They're going to lose other more pieces. And, once again, like I said at the deadline, like they should have gotten a number 1 center, and they didn't. Like I think that was what was truly lacking from the series. Like I get it, Freddie Gaudreau had a good year. He's not a number 1 center. He's a good
even if they acquired a number 1 center, like let's say, I don't know, there's someone out there.
I don't know. Let's go with. I don't know. I want to think. I don't know what to think.
Okay, even if they acquired a first-line center that was amazing, I don't think that they didn't have the prospects or anything like to do it. I don't think.
They have Marek Kutsanidov. They got some.
He could be something.
At a certain point, though, you have to gauge this. You're already screwed enough for the future. Unless you know that you're going to win the cup with what trade you made, then there's no reason to trade away prospects. Trading for Fleury was smart because they didn't have to give up much. But like if they were to acquire a number 1 center, they would have had to give up a lot of prospects and like a lot of picks, and they're already going to be screwed because of the cap. You don't want to get rid of the prospects who you will need when they do have that $14 million in dead cap, because you're going to need some people on ELCs and league minimum contracts.
I mean, at the very least, they do have that. They got Marco Rossi, Matt Boldy, Kalen Addison. They got a couple of other defensemen, Carson Lamb.
Boldy's going to be a stud. Boldy's amazing, actually.
He's really good.
He's going to be real good.
They just signed Jesper Wallstead today.
Oh yeah. I forgot.
So like they do
have Lambos in the pipeline. They got a lot of good prospects coming, and part of that is because they have Jed Brackett now. So
amazing, good job, Canucks.
My advice to the Wild, which I don't know why an executive from the Wild would be listening here. I mean, they are good at copying Nashville. Sorry. And to Wild fans in general, what you should want to see your team do is trade literally anyone you can. I know that they have a lot of people on no movement clauses like Goligoski, Zuccarello, Brodin, and Spurgeon on no movement clauses. And they have a few people on no trade clauses. But anyone that you can trade who like needs to be paid, or just anybody who you can trade who is making a lot of money, trade them and then hoard draft picks and prospects
Yeah.
because you're gonna have to ride this out for 3-4 years. And
Well, I trust in Bill Guerin. I think he's a good GM. So we'll see what he does.
I mean, Bill Guerin is a good GM, but he's in a situation that's going to be so hard to dig out of.
I don't think he buys out Suter and Parise without a plan in place. I do think he probably does have a plan.
We'll see. I guess we'll see when it comes
Yeah.
down to it, which will probably be made after, when trades and stuff start going down again, which won't be for a while.
Yeah. Next series. Talk about a boring series until like the final two games, Calgary and Dallas. First of all, Jake Ottinger is a fucking beauty, man. Just the way he played all series, man, it was unbelievable. I think he stopped like 14 expected goals throughout the throughout the whole 7 games. It was a magnificent performance for him. So congrats to Jake Ottinger. Sucks your team couldn't get to the second round because Rick Bowness is a dumbass. But you gave it your shot. He has a bright future in this league, and Calgary really almost disappointed again, but they didn't. And maybe this year is truly different for the Calgary Flames, and they get behind those playoff demons. The Johnny Gaudreau finally shown up in the playoffs. Their defense has been great. Daryl Sutter hockey works every time. There's not much left to say here besides Jake Ottinger's a god and Calgary played up to the full potential.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
The only worries for Calgary is what was it, like two or something games where Markstrom was a bit patchy, but
there's like one game which is a game. But besides that, he's been great.
That, the Flames looked very good. I mean, they had a great penalty kill percentage. They didn't allow many shots, which is very good. But yeah, they look very good, and brings us to the next series.
Man, if Edmonton, LA, this was first. Let me say this right here, Kings fans, you guys got a hell of a team. They're gonna be good. They're gonna be great. They're gonna be great. Sean Durzee's a goddamn stud. I love Jordan Spence. Mikey Anderson pissed me off all series, but he's a good top four defenseman. Jonathan Quick, besides games 2 and 3, amazing. Just outstanding. Yeah. Mike Smith actually played well too. Besides game 1 where he gave away that stupid freaking goal, but I don't know. I'm not gonna talk about that. The last few years, McDavid's got a lot of shit because they call him make a regular season. He's shown this playoffs that he's a playoff performer. 14 points in 7 games. He willed his team to the victory in game 6 and 7. And we're gonna talk about this when we get to the Battle of Alberta preview, but this year just seems kind of different. I think McDavid is just gonna go on a whole different level. And I think like the last 8 periods, I think he's played the best hockey of his NHL career. Game 7. You want to say something?
I was talking to my cat who's currently climbing the window.
But once again, the Kings have such a good team. They're gonna make the playoffs next year. I had them making the playoffs this year, and they ended up did. Dustin Brown, hell of a career. 2 Stanley Cups, former captain. He's accomplished it all. He's going to be I wouldn't be surprised if he's behind an NHL coach one day.
I think he's going to get his number retired in LA.
100%.
All I'll say from this series, and I watched every single game, every single second of this series, I'm surprised that LA, I had LA winning.
I mean, all you guys.
So did I.
I had LA winning mainly because I thought Mike Smith would just crumble, and I didn't realize that Arvidsson was out. And with all of the Kings' injuries, the fact that they managed to push it to 7 was very impressive in my book.
Yeah, they got hurt.
And you know what? The Kings and Oilers, very good rivals. I would like to see this in the playoffs a lot more because this was fun. Sure. This was very fun.
It was a fun series.
And if you're a Kings fan, as Shay said, the Kings have a very bright future. the Kings just have one problem. You have to get Cal Peterson going.
Yeah.
You invested a lot into him. You have to get him going no matter
Doesn't
what.
he make like $5 million next year?
He's making as much as Saros, so yeah, 5 mil.
Yeah, you gotta
You
get him
have to get
going.
him going, and if you can find a way to trade him and sign a better goalie, then do that. But you have to get Peterson going no matter what. You can't ride Quick this next season. I get it. Quick's phenomenal. Quick won that starter job, but you have to get Peterson going because if he fizzles out and you're stuck with him, that could end this Kings come up very quick.
Yeah. All right, I guess it's time to go to the second round previews. Let's go back in the East. We got the Battle of Florida. We had this last year, ended in 6. Tampa won that in 6 games, but the Florida Panthers are a better team. Tampa Bay arguably is a worse team this year, and Florida's gonna have home ice advantage. I can't wait for this series, man. Like besides the Battle of Alberta, this is a series I'm so looking forward to. It's gonna be fun to watch. High offense, and this is really Florida's year to try to go all in. You finally got over the first round. Maybe they carry some momentum into once again Tampa Bay just played a 7-game series on top of the 2 cup runs. Right, they're gonna be exhausted. Florida should easily bounce on this opportunity. Will they though? I don't know. And Tampa's gonna be without Brandon Point. But there's just something about Tampa Bay that I think they're gonna win the series in 7.
Both.
I just don't trust Bobrovsky yet. Like Bobrovsky had a shaky series against Washington, they still won. I just don't think he's gonna fare well against Tampa Bay. I think Tampa Bay's gonna gain momentum from their win against Toronto. Once again, they got experience in these types of games. It's gonna be close. I wouldn't be surprised if Florida won this in 7 or 6, but I gotta stick with my bracket when I had Tampa in the finals. So I'm gonna go Tampa in 7 here.
Both teams are machines. Both teams are amazing. It's gonna come down to the goaltending. I think the series will go to 7 unless something wild happens. This series is gonna go to 7. Before I say who I think is gonna win in 7, once again, exactly what I said in the first round. It all depends on what Bobrovsky you get. If you get Bobrovsky if you get the $10 million man Bobrovsky, you're done. If you get Bobrovsky like he was in Columbus, you're gonna win. Uh, the main thing is Florida's got to get more disciplined. They got to start doing better on the power play. They do have issues, but if they can do what the Leafs did and the Leafs were catching Tampa Bay flat-footed a lot during that series. If the Florida Panthers can do exactly that and take 2 games just sneakily like that, then they have a good chance to win. But I do think that because of the experience and everything, and I think Vasi will kind of bounce back. I do have the Lightning in 7.
Yeah, I agree. It's going to be a real good series, man. Both teams are super deep this year. I just think Tampa's too good. They've got the experience. They've got Vasilevsky in there as a god who I think I would take over Bobrovsky in this situation. I think it'll go to 7. I think it'll be Tampa in 7.
Okay, we all agree on
We
that
all
one.
agreed.
Yeah.
Oh wait, well, Siakam left. Well, that sucks.
He did that before we even started. He left before we started. He just heard like Florida. And he was like, no.
Like, yeah, I'm done. I'm fucking done. Canes and Rangers. I'm gonna go. This is my hot take here. I got Canes in 4. I just hate the Rangers so much. Their team sucks, man. Like, there's no way they can keep winning series off power plays and Igor. It has to end at some point. And Freddie Anderson should be back. The Canes are just deep everywhere. And once again, home ice. The Canes beat the Rangers in the qualifying round in 2020. I think they swept them there. And the Canes are much improved since then. So I think the Canes are gonna sweep the Rangers. Maybe Igor steals one. He probably will. But you gotta have a hot take in at least each round. So I'm gonna go Canes in 4 here.
This is the racist coming to face his former team. You know what? I dislike both of these teams. They tend to play dirty when things don't go their way, and I think both are massively overrated. So I think it's gonna just come down to what team will actually perform better, which I think will be the Hurricanes. I think the Hurricanes will win in maybe 6. I'm gonna be honest. I was really tempted to say Rangers in 4 again because I wanted to just keep doing that as long as they were in the playoffs. But no, Canes in 6. Uh, yeah, I just don't think that the Rangers are close enough to ready. We saw way too many lapses in Shesterkin's game in round 1, and Jesus, I don't know how Adam Fox or anybody on that Rangers team can be considered defensemen because that defense is so painful to watch. It honestly, I'm not even being honest. During one of the games in round 1, I had to like look away because it was painful. Just like people just there's too many times a Rangers will have like 4 people. It'll be a 1-on-4, and somehow the forward will get past all the Rangers defensemen. It's like, what are you doing? So I think Canes in 6.
Yeah, Canes in 6 sounds pretty good. Nick? Oh, Nick said 2.
Okay, well, he was like, oh, it should be the Penguins.
It should be the Penguins. We'll go to Avs and Blues, and when Nick comes back, he can do his Penguins one. Or the Canes one, not the Penguins. Avs and Blues. This is tough, man, because I could see the Avalanche choking in the second round again, but at the same time, their team is so good that I don't think they will. And I think St. Louis's depth on the forward core. We mentioned it before. It's unreal, right? I think they got 670 point scores. They got 920 goal scores. It's absurd how insane their depth scoring is. And but once again, the issue is that do you trust Jordan Binnington? And I don't.
Neither do
I really don't. Having said that, though, I think history repeats itself, and I'm going to go Blues in 7. I just think something about the Avalanche, man. I feel like they're gonna choke again. I think a lot of people are putting a lot of their hopes on this team, and I just think they're gonna end up failing again. I'm gonna go Blues in 7.
I think that this will be the first time in a while that the Avalanche actually make it past the second round. I don't know if they'll make it past the third round. It depends on who they face, in my opinion, in round 3. But I do have the Avalanche winning because, whether you like it or not, the playoffs do come down to goaltending, and man, I trust Kemper more than I trust Husso or Bennington.
Yeah.
And I think that the Avalanche, were able to. The Avalanche are scarily able to adapt to during the first round, every strategy that Nashville would try, the Avalanche would be able to adapt to it right away. They were like, I said this when watching one of the games. I said the Avalanche are literally like Taskmaster from Marvel. I don't know if you guys, any of the people have, read Taskmaster's comics or stuff, but one of his powers is if he sees someone doing fighting a certain way, he can instantly learn it and mimic it. And it's that's what the Avalanche could do. They were just able to instantly find out and just perfectly defend, and I think they'll continue to do that.
Right.
I think if you put enough pressure on them, they will break, but I do feel that Kemper is strong enough to hold it down. So I'm going to go with Avs in 5.
Oh, there's Nick. Nick, what's your Canes
hi.
prediction?
Sorry, guys.
What's your Hurricane?
Okay, I'll say Kane. I got a question. What's Anderson's status for round 2?
I think he's still day-to-day, but I'm pretty sure he should be back by game 2 or 3.
I think he should be,
Okay.
game 2, 3.
Yeah, okay. So I hate the Rangers, but
yeah,
the luck is on their side. I mean, I don't think they're going to win. I think they're going to make it to 6. I think it'll be Canes in 6. I think they're just too good. They're too deep. But I think goaltending is going to play a factor if Anderson's not healthy. I mean, we'll see what happens. Let's see, he decides to come back and he leaps it up a little bit. But
right.
I think it'll be Canes in 6.
And how about the Avs?
The Avalanche. I got a weird feeling about the Avalanche, man. I said it all along.
I know. I said too. I think they're second round exits again.
Yeah, I think they're like Washington version 2.0, which also that doesn't mean I don't think they're ever going to win. I think obviously Washington eventually made it past second round and went all the way. I think the time for the Avs is coming, but there's just something weird about the Avalanche. I don't know what it is. They're just they just remind me of the Caps too much. Super strong team all year, got superstars, super deep team, and they can't do anything in the playoffs. So, and the Blues played really well against the Wild, all things considered. So, yeah, I'm gonna go Blues in 7 for that one.
Yeah, I got Blues in 7 too. Speaking about this reminds me, like I remember the Capitals team in like 2017. Their defense was stacked, man.
Oh my
Like,
god,
it was like John Carlson, Matt Niskanen, Orlov, Orpik. I think Kevin Shattenkirk was part of that
Shattenkirk.
too.
Nate I think Schmidt. Braun was on that team, wasn't he? Or am I thinking of the wrong year? Yeah.
It was Shattenkirk. It was Shattenkirk, Schmidt, Orpik, Orlov, Niskanen, Alzner, Carlson. Like, holy shit.
Yeah.
And they still lost to the Penguins somehow.
Yeah,
that was insane. But next, probably the best second round matchup. One that I'm fucking scared of right now, though.
If this series is boring, then you must abolish both of these teams, because this should be the most fun and intense series. And if this series is boring, you should ban both teams from the NHL forever. There must be like 50 fights a game. We got to see the classic Battle of Alberta.
But man, oh man, I'm excited. In my first ever time seeing the Battle of Alberta in the playoffs, first time since 1991. It's been 31 long years. Fuck, man, I don't.
None of us are old enough to.
Obviously, no one wants to lose to their rivals, especially in the playoffs. I mean, Caps, Penguins, Bruins, Canadiens, Leafs, Canadiens. We've seen a lot of these in the past. I don't want to be on the losing side of this, man. But listen, like the Oilers, we know the Oilers can score, right? And they finally actually got depth scoring this year. Goaltending has been fine. The defense is still leaky. You know, the Flames might be without Chris Tanev, which will be huge, but it's Daryl Sutter hockey. They're built for the playoffs. As much as it pains me to say this, I think it's going to be Flames in 5 or 6. You know, obviously I would love to see the Oilers win this series. I'd be ecstatic. I don't give a shit if we get swept in the third round. If we beat Calgary, that's my Stanley Cup right there. But at the same time,
a man's broken.
Exactly. Well, like, you know, at the same time, I just can't see us beating Calgary, and it's gonna suck on social media when we lose. But
shut up, thing.
It's gonna be a hell of a series. It's gonna be one that's gonna be talked about for a really long time. It's about time we got a Battle of Alberta in the playoffs. And like, you know,
if this is boring, I swear.
I got Flames in 6. I think McDavid will his team to a couple games, but I got Flames in 6.
I think that this all depends on if Smith can stay good, if the Edmonton defense can patch those leaks, and I'm not saying that they need to completely patch them. Patch them for like 5 minutes. Just stop doing dumb things that you were doing all first round. Like, geez. Draisaitl needs to start learning how to play defense.
Well, Draisaitl has an injured ankle right now too.
That is true, but even without the injured ankle, he can't play defense.
Well, it's gonna be even harder for him to play defense now.
Yeah, and I think that a big thing is that the Oilers will need to stop a lot of the dirtiness from Calgary, because Calgary plays dirty. We saw a lot of it in round 1. You know, you also saw a lot of it in the regular season. So I think Edmonton needs to stop that. I don't know if Edmonton has the big bodies or enough to stop it. I mean, they got Cassian. You got Nurse,
you got Kane.
Yeah, they got Nurse, they got Kane, they got Cassian, they got
That's about it.
Keith could do it, I guess. But
I saw people saying Archibald, and I'm like, no, just don't bring up that dude's name. Archibald.
They could somehow maybe I think the Oilers can pull it out if they can somehow survive the dirtiness of Calgary.
Yeah.
And you guys are gonna be shocked by this. Edmonton in 6.
No way.
Edmonton in 6, and then whatever team they face in round 3 is going to utterly demolish them.
I don't care. If we just beat Calgary, I'm happy.
But I think Edmonton in 6, mainly because I think that I think that just the will and the energy of the arena is going to just propel them.
Yeah.
All right. It's going to be a fun series, man. This is going to be awesome. But I'm trying to think. Like, both teams, Edmonton surprised. Like, their depth, for instance, has really surprised me. Ryan McLeod, for instance,
He's so good.
He's so
Like,
good, man.
I know you watched him in Mississauga, but like he is so good.
I watched him a little bit in Mississauga, but like, yeah, he's unreal. But I think the thing with the series, like, Edmonton's probably going to be in the series and push a lot further than what people think because they have guys like McDavid and Draisaitl. McDavid, the last couple of games against LA, Game 6, Game 7, was probably some of the best hockey I've ever seen in my life. He was unbelievable in those games. But I think, like, the Oilers don't have a guy like Ottinger. You know, Smith was good last series, but he's not Jake Ottinger. And I think because of that, the Flames are going to score more goals. Their defense is going to be a little bit interesting. I think Tanev is supposed to be still out for round 2. I'm not sure what Shillington's status is. I think he came back for Game 7, but they might be a little weak on the defense. So I'm going to say Flames. I'm going to say Flames in 7. I think it's going to be a really good series, though. I can't wait for it.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah. I think we all agreed on like all of them except for that one.
Yeah, I'm sticking to my gut. It served me well in round 1, except for like a few series. It served me well during the regular season, and it serves me well during free agency and trades. I'm gonna go with my gut.
All right, and yeah, that's about it for this episode. And we'll probably make another one in a week and a half when the second round ends. So
I mean, we could also just make videos, break big news and other shite, like, you know, awards stuff and stuff. So there's gonna be more to come.
Yeah. But yeah, that's about it, guys. Enjoy the second round. There's gonna be a lot of fun hockey this upcoming week. And yeah, we'll see you guys next time.